Hormones are the messenger molecules of the body. They're the triggers to tell the organs what's going on so they can kick out and send out the enzymes. From the time you swallow food and the time it leaves your body, that food is traveling against your gastro tract, the GI tract. The gastrointestinal tract includes the mouth, the path leading through the esophagus to the stomach, and the anus, small and large intestines. Don't forget those. Let's go through them one by one. Let's see. Digestion begins in the mouth. Chewing breaks food up and mixes it with saliva. Spit. The salivary glands are very important in the early stages of digestion. The salivary glands secrete saliva through small ducts to moisten food. They're filled with enzymes and other substances. The saliva is responsible for the initial digestion of food. Did you know that you produce 1.5 liters of saliva a day? 1.5 liters. Think about it. But let's go back to chewing. All right? Once the chewed food is mixed with saliva, it becomes what's called a bolus. A bolus is just a small bowl of chewed food that forms before swallowing. Now, swallowing pushes the bowling into the esophagus, but once it's in there, peristalsis, the rhythmic, muscular contractions of the gastrointestinal tract, pushes the food down the esophagus. Let me make it clear. First, the food enters the mouth. There we chew the food and prepare it for its journey into the gastrointestinal tract. We swallow the bolus, and the action of peristalsis pushes it down the esophagus through a door-like opening, the cardiac sphincter, to the stomach. Once the food is in the stomach, the cardiac sphincter closes behind the bolus to prevent it from re-entering the esophagus. If any food slips back, then you know what you've got? Heartburn. The gastric acids from the stomach irritate the esophagus, causing the burning effect. Okay? The stomach continues the digestive process until all the food is passed through to the second sphincter, the pyloric sphincter, and into the small intestines. You see, the stomach is just a holding tank for food before it enters the small intestines, where the real digestion takes place. Once the food passes the pyloric sphincter, it goes into the first of 3 segments of the small intestines, the duodenum. When the food passes into the small intestine, it's in the form of a semi-liquid mass called chyme. Need more information? The pyloric sphincter ensures that chyme does not pass back into the stomach. Thank goodness for the pyloric sphincter. So, let's see if we can keep our sphincters straight. Remember, there are 2 sphincters, and they operate in alphabetical order. That is, the cardiac at the top of the stomach comes before the pyloric at the bottom of the stomach. So, just remember CPs for cardiac and pyloric sphincters. Got that? Remember, digestion is both mechanical and chemical. The chemical digestion involves chewing and the muscular movements of the digestive tract. Chemical digestion is based on hydrolysis. Both forms begin in the mouth. After food enters the mouth, you chew it up, you mix it with saliva, and you form the bolus. It passes through the esophagus. The bolus is pushed along through the esophagus by peristalsis, the rhythmic muscular contractions of the gastrointestinal tract. Once the bolus passes through the esophagus, it then passes through the cardiac sphincter. Once through the cardiac sphincter, it enters the stomach, and the cardiac sphincter closes so the bolus can't backtrack and give you heartburn. So you have to thank your cardiac sphincter. The bolus then enters the stomach, and then is further churned through peristalsis in preparation for the small intestines. But in order to get from the stomach to the small intestine, the bolus, which is now in the form of chyme, must pass through the pyloric sphincter into the small intestine. Got that? Take your time. Now we're halfway there. The second part of the journey is the small intestines, large intestines, and the anus. So food passes through the pyloric sphincter to get to the almost 10 feet of small intestine. The small intestine has 3 segments: the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. Most of the digestion process takes place in these 3 segments. To remember the order of the segments, just remember the phrase, "don't jump in." The small intestine is made up of hundreds of folds. These folds are covered with little projections called villi, and the villi are covered with microvilli. These microvilli increase the surface area of the So we have maximum absorption of nutrients, such as the carrying of nutrients into the walls of the small intestines en route to the bloodstream. These enzymes occur over and over and over again until all the nutrients are absorbed. One more little thing, and then I'm going to stop. Guess the word. Here's a clue. The measure of the amount of potential energy in foods. What is it? What's the answer? What is it?
Calorie.
Not calories. Try again. Try again. You're close. 1,000 of them make up one calorie. Kilocalories. You were so close. We'll stop there. What's happening, Brother Brown?
Knowledge is power.
Woo.